welcome to Momentum. We're going to be talking about eating out tonight, and I want to thank you for joining in and learning a little bit more, enlightening yourself, and applying this information so that you can then be smarter and be cooler and not wreck your day or 2 days worth of your calories and whatnot based upon what your food choices are. So we're going to be diving into how to eat out, especially when traveling, and what are the best ways to kind of handle this. So we've got a lot of different things talking about, specifically restaurants tonight. We can dive into a little more further travel options here, but we're going to really dive into eating out at restaurants because it's kind of what you do when you end up eating out. So first up, we're going to talk about picking the right restaurant, okay? There's a big difference between picking a wide variety of different ones, okay? This is going to automatically set yourself up for a win or a loss based upon what you pick. So, for example, picking a fast food restaurant is going to end up not, hello Holly. Picking a fast food restaurant is probably going to be detrimental, whereas picking a higher end restaurant might be able to lean more your way based on ordering options, and it'll be a big difference that you will be able to. Now, first up, picking the right restaurant, you can go online and check their nutrition data up online, okay? All the menus have nutrition. All the restaurants have, at least corporate restaurants will have online nutrition information, and that is important because you can go on and kind of dive in, and I'll share a couple at the end of this that are just wreckers. They will destroy your day, maybe even 2 days worth of food based on one particular meal. So the benefits of checking online is that you'll see what your healthy options are. You'll be able to pre-plan your meal and avoid temptation going in there, whether you're hungry or whether you have a busy day and you end up joining in. What about fattening foods? You'd be surprised at how fattening some of the foods there are when going out, and that is a problem as well. If you end up seeing the nutrition data isn't ideal for you, then I would recommend moving on to another one and trying to find a different one that will meet more of your needs, okay? Other things that you might not be looking out for are sugar content as well. The obvious ones are carbs and fat, and that's really what eating out kind of is. It's a carb and a fat dump, okay? But sugar could be up in there quite a bit, and oftentimes there's not a lot of protein in general for these meals, so you have to really be careful there. Another one, especially for the ladies, is going to restaurants that have a low-calorie menu, okay? Right off the bat, you know you can win there. Typically, under 500 calories or less is going to be able to offer a lighter fare for you and going to create at least a more narrow range of meals that you can actually eat, okay? So go in there and find the low-calorie first and see which one is ideal for you, okay? Based on the macro approach as well is you can kind of, MyFitnessPal is pretty good at this, is you can plug in the information from these more corporate restaurants and be able to get a better idea on how to plan your meals and how they fit into your macros for the day, which is kind of important. So when choosing out, one thing you may think about is that opting for an upscale restaurant. A couple things here is one, that you can order a la carte. Okay, so you can probably get exactly what you want if you're going to do an upscale restaurant. So if you wanted a certain cut of steak prepared at a certain way, then you can get exactly that. So you'd end up, if I was going to say Ken Stewart's restaurant, I would go for a nice large steak. And then from there, I would probably have double vegetables and skip on any starches and go with steamed vegetables and make sure that they weren't buttered. So that would be highly beneficial for there. Plus, they'll offer smaller serving sizes, which you kind of weigh. You can go to the all-you-can-eat buffet for like $5.99, or you can get a little more of an upscale, a very nice meal, and you might not have as large a portions, and that could be okay. One thing, after you figure out what restaurant you want to go to, make reservations. Okay, this really makes it, you can just show up on time and you can get seated in a timely manner rather than sitting there waiting. Let's think of you go to a steak joint and they have peanuts and whatnot. You could end up consuming a fair amount of calories in peanuts before it could easily be 200-300 calories minimum. And then if you hit the bar up, you add another 300 to 500 calorie drink on top of that, so you could already be 500 plus calories deep in your meal before you even sit down to the actual table to then order. So that could be easily 1,000 to 1,500 calorie meal if you're not careful. So making reservations allows you to show up on time, stick to the plan, and get in there and not have to dilly-dally around or allow just time to be against you. So we all know that we've sat at waiting and you just get hungrier and hungrier. And as soon as that hunger really kind of takes over, then the temptation to pick whatever goes up. So you were planning on the steamed vegetables, and all of a sudden you're having a pasta dish that's got like 1,200 calories minimum. Okay. One thing you could think about is asking for a table far away from the kitchen. And when getting seated near the kitchen, you end up smelling all of the aromas from the actual plates. You get to visually see the plates coming from the kitchen as well, and so that ends up can be influencing you, and then also it will keep you from it may sway your persuasion on what you pick based on what you see or smell. And if you're really hungry, it could only encourage you to end up eating more, such as the bread basket, right? One thing, kind of off the topic here, or kind of off the wall here, would be listening to the music. And found that a Cornell University study found that people who dine in restaurants that had lighter music actually lingered at the table longer, but they actually ate less food. Okay, it gave a soothing environment for them to kind of get maybe a little more intellectual at and enjoy what is going on with their with what's going on at the table. Okay. Next up would be the actual colors of the restaurant. Okay, it will influence you in ways that you could further imagine. Okay, soft colors like blues and peaches and grays and pinks encourage a relaxed atmosphere that can also result in eating slower. When we eat slower, we get full faster, or we realize satiation a lot faster than if we go into a more stimulating environment like oranges and reds and bright and a lot of energy in those. You can really get kind of taken away, your attention at least, and going there. Now, there's a couple tips for ordering. Okay, when we're ordering, we want to make sure that you're ready. When you show up, you get the menu, and you don't really want to be browsing around the menu because it's not going to serve you very well. Like I said, you can be easily influenced by images and pictures that are on the menu, and if you've already done your due diligence, which I truly encourage you to do, then you are able to go in there with a plan of action and not get derailed, specifically in your calories and your macros. So first up would be ordering a salad first. Okay, we're looking for a little side salad, not these crazy 1,000 plus calorie topped high fat, high calorie meals that represent themselves as salad. That doesn't work very well. So if you end up eating a salad, particularly one that's not drenched in dressing, then you're going to get full faster. Okay, it's going to allow you to fill up the space in your belly, and then ultimately allow you to eat less calories when you get to the main dish. Things like skipping the cheese and the croutons should be a no-brainer. And if you can, get it a little bit veggie heavy instead of accepting what may just show up with like a couple slices of cucumbers and maybe 2 tomatoes. So if you know your macros, tomatoes and all that stuff really don't add up to much, and they ultimately can not really fill you up. So you want to see if you can get a couple more vegetables on there. So when you are looking through the menu, or when you're looking through it before you get there, we want to look out for loaded words on the menu. This specifically means that words that can be describing the meal as something that's a little more elegant, or could be a little more filled with different types of higher calorie additives like cream or butter, a lot of different fats, stuffed or breaded, gratin, parmesan, cheese filled, scalloped, sauteed. These allow, or double or stuffed. These allow for you to think about things in a way that may allow for more calories to be consumed. Okay, so if you find the au gratin potatoes, guess what? They're gonna have more than just potato there, or the loaded triple topped baked potato or something like that. We don't want to go with that. Now, if you're going for a soup, in general, I'm not a huge soup person. There's not really much substance to it. It's mainly carbohydrates in general, or fat, not really lacks of protein. But this could be an easy way to get full on the meal, and then ultimately eat less for your actual meal. So a broth-based soup is what we're looking for when you go and want soup. So like a chicken noodle or something, or something that has like a beef stock might be good instead of something that's a creamy sauce. And so we want to make sure that you stay away from those. Okay. Now, if you're a little bit on the healthier side and you get cut up in the gluten-free options, we want to make sure that we are paying attention to that. Gluten-free still means calories. Doesn't mean that it's calorie-free. Just simply means that there's no gluten in that particular item. So people assume that foods are healthy when they see gluten-free, and that's not necessarily the case. Go into the grocery store and find boxes that have the gluten-free on them, and look at the nutrition label and tell me what you get. Pretty much the same type of macros as it would be for its other box counterpart. It just doesn't have gluten in it. So you really want to pay attention there. Now, when we're looking at appetizers, real quick little tip here would be to double up on the appetizer. And so what we can do here is you can get a much smaller portion in an appetizer setting instead of getting, plus it will save you money, so you get like the $8, $7, $8 appetizer rather than the $13, $15 meal. It allows you to really skip out on a lot of calories there. We want to make sure that you stay away from samplers, from breaded type items, things with cheese, creams, and whatnot. So that could really kind of ruin your evening with the calories. I would then ask the server for help. Okay, asking the server for help is going to allow you to be able to get a pretty good lowdown on what are really good options there at that particular restaurant, and it's going to really kind of enlighten you to, if you really kind of tell them what you're kind of aiming for, and they'll be able to help kind of give you the fast, quick, narrow way to get there. So, and then they might suggest something that you didn't think about or didn't even know about. If you go to those higher upscaled restaurants, oftentimes they have a whole side menu that is often verbally told to you, and that ends up being a rather lengthy process. If you've sat there and listened to them go through the many dishes that aren't on the menu that are being served tonight. As you are going to actually order, we want to think about double to triple the vegetables. Okay, you can always ask for more. You can swap out the starch for more vegetables, and that allows you to get more veggies. Again, feeling more full because you're eating a low calorie, high fiber option, and that will make it really, really benefit you there. Um, as for meats, and particularly steaks, we want to look and see what the difference is between different cuts of meat. So things like top sirloin, side steak, bottom round are going to be a little bit better than prime rib or T-bone. And so skinless chicken breast, grilled chicken are going to be better than chicken thighs or legs for that. So you want to make sure that you're aware of what part of the animal the meat is actually coming from. Okay. Now, when it comes to the actual sauces of everything and potentially butter, you can ask for it on the side, and you can add as much as you need to make it flavorful and taste a lot better. So, if you don't, you're pretty clueless on how much fat is actually on the steak or the vegetables or whatever. You end up getting left to whatever the chef wants, and ultimately with the restaurant how they deem that they want to serve it to you, because they want food. Ultimately, restaurants are in business to make money, and they want to serve you delicious food so that you are excited, the food tastes good, and you are willing to come back. So pretty simple on that. Okay. Now, when looking at drinks, we are preferably looking to get a little bit more on the empty side. We want to avoid high calorie drinks such as alcohol or pop. Those are going to be pretty detrimental to your caloric intake for that evening and that meal. So sugary margaritas, pina coladas, beer can end up being a little bit costly. If you had to, let's see if we can get like a vodka with some club soda. That might work. Maybe get a small glass of red wine to be able to allow you to enjoy the evening with calories. Or if you had to, diet soda, and that will, or diet pop, depending on which way you like to order it. So that'll at least get you a lower calorie and still be able to enjoy the actual beverage with the meal. Now, as you keep looking through the menu, we want to look for healthy terms that are words such as, we talked about being the loaded type of loaded terms that are like additives and buttery and creamy and whatnot. But let's look on the flip side for healthy terms like grilled or broiled or baked. Could be common names for that. And this allows you to obviously pick stuff that can get your they might use less butter, less fat, or less carbs to help prepare the meal. As far as another protein option, look at maybe ordering fish. Okay, fish is always a great way to have it, as long as it's not fried or sautéed in oils, or could be deep fried. Like, that's not good. Looking for like a grilled fish, something that again is without sauces as well, or butter, because it'll taste pretty good and that costs a lot of calories. Okay. If you've ever thought of ordering fruit, it's there. You can add a little bit of fruit to your dish. So sometimes restaurants might have mixed berries. They might have that they would add to different desserts or different meals or whatever, and they can allow you to add a little bit of taste to your plate without adding a ton of calories. Now, tips for your actual dining experience itself. Let's kind of dive in here a little bit. Hopefully you've picked a good restaurant. You're pacing yourself on the actual food and whatnot, and enjoying the atmosphere of that and the dishes sitting in front of you. So maybe we can follow a couple of these steps that will allow you to finish strong without derailing yourself. So liven up your plate with some spices. So you can have a little bit of salt or pepper, maybe some other type of like a splash of lemon or lime, and maybe you can get something added on in the back from the chef, like some chili or garlic or whatnot, to add a lot of good flavor, intense flavors, without the extra calories. So I'm a big fan of crushed red pepper flakes a lot, and just pepper itself. I always add those to my meals, and they actually taste pretty darn good when I do it. So and stay away from Parmesan, right? Use the fork dip method. Okay, this really comes in handy when you are eating a salad or you are have sauces like barbecue sauce or could be dressings, ranch dressing, ranch dressing and whatnot allows a little bit of problem. So what you do is the fork dipping method is you get the sauce on the side or the dressing on the side, and then you take your fork, you dip it in and pull it out, and then stab whatever it is that you're eating, whether it's a lettuce, whether it's a piece of meat. And by doing that, you still get the taste of, say, ranch dressing, but without the tons of calories that go with ranch, okay, and the fat that goes with ranch. So that's a super duper easy way to cut a ton of calories out and just not eat them. I do that regularly. I'll just dip the fork and then spear the piece of meat or the lettuce or vegetable or whatever, and that really helps out quite a bit. As the meal comes up and you're getting served, you can, is a simple strategy that I really don't use because I usually eat all the food on my plate, but I know that I've had friends and family do it, is get a to-go box, okay, a doggy bag. And if you can get that, or even ask the waiter or waitress to box up half of it before it even comes out, then you're not even tempted to eat the whole thing, okay? You can end up really cutting a lot of calories out if you end up doing that. So I'd suggest at least 50% of your meal, cut it out and pack it up so that you can have it as another meal and enjoy it another time. Again, you've already picked a really good option on the menu, so you're not risking like a 1,200, 1,500 calorie meal, but maybe, excuse me, maybe that you end up ordering for enough for lunch tomorrow, and you can easily just cut that piece of meat in half, have the rest of the sides, and get going. Okay. A strategy when you're actually forking around on the plate is to eat the lowest calorie portion first. Okay. So the vegetables would be ideal there. This allows you to start to continue that fullness process before you get into the heavier things. I say with starches as well. And if you can eat a lot of the vegetables, then you may not want the starches, and then you can get that going. So next up would be for things like chicken and turkey, and would be skipping the skin. Okay, if you get it served, we would definitely want to avoid that. It ends up a lot of calories and a lot of saturated fat that really isn't any room for a healthy diet. We want to, this is the most obvious one, especially when you sit down in the beginning of your meal, is to pass the bread basket, the chips and salsa. Okay, those can be detrimental to the overall calorie intake, and particularly carbs or fat as well. So bread baskets, think of each piece of bread as like upwards of 100 calories, and if you're trying to restrict, 100 calories could be 5% of your meal for the whole, or 5% of your daily intake, and that can add up pretty quick. That would just be 1, 2, 3. You could be looking at like 10-15% of your total intake for the day ends up coming from the bread basket, which is not really serving you any nutritional value or giving you the things that you need. If you add butter to it, then it gets even worse. Now, same thing with the chips and salsa. How many chips can you eat? How much salsa can you eat? Salsa is actually really good, and something that you want to actually have in as a sauce or side or something to add to. But the chips are just loaded with carbs and fats, and they're going to cost you big time. Okay, putting down the fork between bites. Okay, now this ends up being pretty good strategy to slow down your pace and actually chew your food. If you do that, you chew your food many times, you start the digestion process of your food actually starts in your mouth. So as soon as you start chewing, the saliva starts breaking down the food immediately, and your teeth help with that process as well. So the more broken down the food is by the time it gets into your intestines, then the better opportunity for it to fully absorb the vitamins and minerals that it has to offer, and then also pass through you easier. So slowing down, eating, taking a bite, put down the fork will allow for a much greater uh, experience, dinner conversation, less food eaten, because it's going to take you a lot longer. And you can also gauge your hunger levels as you go. So do you even want to finish whatever is on your plate? Or can you just pack it up in the to-go bag that you already put some of your food in, right? Next up is exactly like what are you dressing as? Like, how are you going to the restaurant? And something to think about here would be to think about dressing up. Okay, if you go too casual or you go in like sweats, which you wouldn't, but if you were to, like, it ends up not being as special. And if you end up going all dressed up, snazzy, then it can be a little bit more importance, and then you can actually just you want to have an enjoyable experience that matches the way you dress. And if you feel good about yourself and you enjoy the way you look and you feel sexy, and then you're not necessarily going to be interested in stuffing yourself and just eating unlimited chips and salsa before your meal comes. You probably want to go to a Mexican restaurant, which could be heavy calorie laden food anyway. So something to think about. The way you dress can really dictate where you go and ultimately influence your food. So another easy tip here: as you're drinking, as you're going through your meal, drink water throughout. Okay, there's always a glass of water that gets served on your table, regardless of what type of drink you get. There's always water there, and they're always willing to refill it. So if you can even go in with a game plan of having 2 glasses of water while you're there, that again is going to slow down the hunger response. Make sure you really check: am I hungry? Am I not? Or am I just thirsty? And it'll allow you to kind of cut some calories as well and judge your hunger. Do I even need to finish what's on the plate or not? Next up, a simple strategy of going out would be to plan for the meal. Okay, and what I mean by this is within the macros approach. So if you're monitoring your macros and you've got you can bank your calories for a particular event. This is something I love to do. This is a personal strategy of mine. If I'm going out to eat, if I'm going to friends, if I'm going to be enjoying myself on some level, what I'm going to do is kind of shortchange myself early in the day to save up calories per se, and that will allow me to then have a little more of leeway and enjoyment inside the actual dinner itself. So that is a fantastic and easy way to manipulate the everything that you would love to go. So again, kind of plan out and prepare and save room for those particular that particular event and outing. Um, Now, as far as your overall activity and plans for the evening, maybe plan some activity after. Okay, so if you know you're going to be out strolling after dinner, going shopping, walking, there's a lot of places that have like stores around them, so like open areas to walk around and everything. And so if you plan some activity after, you not really want to feel stuffed and over full. And so that's going to be an easy way to help cut some calories as well and pick a better option. So I'm not really going to be interested in having the giant double burger with a huge basket of fries and onion rings. I know I'm going to be busy and kind of moving and being active afterwards. Now, one thing you can do afterwards, kind of seal the deal for your meal, is to pop a mint. Okay, have a mint. All right, it'll help kind of clear your palate. It'll help clear your taste buds. It'll combine the all the food flavors together, and it'll help give you a way out of wanting to eat more. So that can be really like kind of like, you know what, I need to stop eating, so I'm gonna pop a mint in and then get going from there. Pack up my food and get my bill tab, and then I'm good to go. You can forget the dessert. Okay, this is sometimes gonna be harder than others, and other times not so much. So forgetting the dessert is a easy way to cut 400 or 500 calories out. Loads of carbs and fats and sugar, and so there is a ton of just negative uh, um, impact that a dessert will have actually on your macros, on your calories, on the way you look and feel. Um, and one thing you could do is maybe plan dessert at home, so then you can go out to eat, enjoy that, save some money, and then have a dessert for you waiting at home. That would actually be a benefit for you to get home and enjoy the rest of the evening together if you're with someone. And then last up, totally for give yourself totally for you is give yourself a pep talk and then kind of a pat on the back before and after your meals. And the reason being with this is that what we can do is if you encourage yourself and you thank yourself for treating yourself well and enjoying the whole atmosphere and environment rather than just go there and get stuffed or just not feeling great, then you're gonna be in a lot better mind frame and stuff. So it's gonna be really really impactful for you. So there's like 30 plus tips for you in terms of eating out at restaurants. Um, I hope you enjoyed that. We're gonna go over. I had just kind of quickly looked up some meals that were really like, wow, there's a lot going on here, and they were kind of tricky a little bit. So Applebee's sweet potato fries, 16-ounce serving was what it came in. It's 310 calories. It had 72 carbs, 57 grams of sugar, which is kind of a lot, and 9 grams of protein. So and it's only 310 calories, so it's very carb and sugar heavy with very low protein and zero fat. Okay, unless they were fried. Now there was a strawberry banana smoothie that I found that had for this is a small size, 16 ounces, 310 calories, just the same kind of as the sweet potatoes, but this had that's what so I didn't have the excuse me, that wasn't the sweet potatoes. I apparently did not mark that down. Let me see if I can find those real quick here. In my resource, that was the strawberry banana smoothie. Apologies. So that was from Aubon Pain. Okay, and so that was the 310 with 57 grams of sugar. So let me see if I can find the sweet potato fries. On these guys, we're looking at 1,100 calories. Okay, 77 grams of fat. It's pretty loaded. 2,500 milligrams of sodium, which is kind of your order for the day. 110 grams of carbs, 51 of it sugar. You did have 15 grams of fiber, but it comes at a pretty significant cost, and 7 grams of protein, so not really that ideal. Okay. Next up would be another warning type of food to stay away from was the Bob Evans cranberry pecan chicken salad. Okay, and this was served with the 2 slices of specialty bread as well. Totaled about 1,300 calories, 76 grams of fat. If most of you you want to eat like less than half of that, or thereabouts, or a little bit more than half, and that ends up being a huge amount of fat. So it's like 2 days of fat, 112 carbs, 75 grams of sugar, and 51 grams of protein. So that's kind of a lot, quite a bit for most people. It could be a day's worth of food actually in this salad. We're gonna wrap up with a Smoothie King, the Hulk smoothie. So if you go to these smoothie joints, they're not that great for you. They're awfully sugar laden and really can be detrimental. Now this guy is promoted as a bulk gaining muscle recovery type drink. Maybe I should do it for my biceps. Or build biceps if I have the Hulk. But 1,900 calories, 64 grams of fat, 290 carbs. Like yikes! That's the amount of carbs I eat in a day. 250 grams of sugar. That could be like 5 days worth of sugar for you. 50 grams of protein. So there's a couple of some of the worst ones that I found online. There's plenty more things like from Macaroni Grill or what else? Cheesecake Factory. Anything with pasta is really going to any pasta joint is really going to be clearing like 1,500 calories or more, and it could be pretty darn outrageous. So you really want to make sure that you're just well informed you understand what you're doing, and we go from there. So hopefully you enjoyed this talk about eating out, specifically at a restaurant, and you learn quite a bit from it and can take some of these tips away. So look forward to talking with you next time.